Lightning doesn't always flash in the night sky. Sometimes it cracks straight through the chandeliers of Buckingham Palace, leaving courtiers blinking in panic while the world outside scrambles to understand what just happened. That is exactly where our story begins. And if you think this ends with a polite bow and a wave from a balcony, hold tight, because every minute you stay with me, another layer of velvet gets yanked off a secret the palace hoped you'd never see. The whisper started as a ripple. King Charles, less than 2 years into his own reign, had decided to pull his sharpest political lever and elevate Catherine, Princess of Wales, not later, not eventually, but now, to the full-blooded role of queen in all but formal coronation regalia. The shock hit the royal ecosystem like a blast of winter wind through an open throne room door. Staffers gasped, reporters refreshed feeds, and Queen Camilla, whose journey from public villain to cautious acceptance has already consumed decades of tabloid ink, felt the ground tilt beneath her heels hard enough to steal her breath. But a decision this explosive never sparks overnight. So tonight, we trace the fuse backward. Late-night strategy meetings, Anne's blunt warning about their mother's hidden wish list, Charles balancing modern optics with ancient protocol, William quietly cheering from the sidelines, Camilla fighting to hold the narrative, and Catherine herself stepping forward with that calm smile that hides steel. Stay till the last beat, because the verdict you form at the end may redefine loyalty, ambition, and the very idea of a crown. And if you crave unfiltered royal drama, hit subscribe to this channel right now. One tap keeps you front row when the next royal plot twist drops. Charles's private office smells of ink, leather binding, and the weight of two monarchs' legacies. His mother's and his own. For months he has studied polling data showing a public fatigued by ceremony yet hungry for authenticity, and every graph points to Catherine. Even before her cancer diagnosis, she'd already been the palace's secret weapon. Mom who kneels to eye level with kids, soldier who climbs into tanks, Duchess who recycles Zara blazers. But when she re-emerged after treatment, smiling, hair a little thinner yet chin higher than ever, she cemented herself as the monarchy's living answer to the question, why should we care? Charles saw the numbers, felt the pulse, remembered late-night talks with his mother about continuity, and realized inertia could strangle his new reign before it learned to breathe. Camilla, however, had fought a lifetime for acceptance, endured years of boos and cruel headlines, finally winning Queen Consort as Elizabeth's final gift. She had expected to share the stage, not surrender it. And that clash, Charles's strategic horizon versus Camilla's hard-won comfort, set the stage for a confrontation no velvet curtain could hide. Enter Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, human truth serum of the Windsor clan. Anne cornered her brother during a Balmoral weekend, laid out a stack of correspondence their mother never published, letters praising Catherine's diligence and forecasting a bigger role when the time is right. Anne didn't sugarcoat. Mum saw Kate as linchpin, not accessory. If you ignore that, you ignore her. Charles listened, thumb tracing the edge of his teacup, and the plan crystallized. Elevate Catherine soon, both to fulfill Elizabeth's vision and to tether the monarchy's future to a woman the public trusts more than any pollster could dream. Yet how do you drop such news without detonating your court? Charles turned to Sir Clive Alderton, private secretary, master of silent chess. Together they built a rollout. Ceremonial address, balcony optics, press briefings, private concessions. The only variable? Human emotion, particularly Camilla's. Announcement day arrived, wrapped in pomp. Ambassadors, senior clergy, even 2 former prime ministers lined the Gold Leaf Hall expecting a routine pledge to sustainability or mental health. When Charles stepped to the lectern, blue eyes steel calm, Camilla beside him in icy pastel, nobody breathed. In deliberately measured cadence, he praised his mother, praised service, then pivoted. With deepest respect for her late majesty's enduring wisdom, and with the unanimous counsel of this court, I hereby affirm that Catherine, Princess of Wales, shall henceforth hold the rank and style of queen, in partnership and in service to this realm. You could hear the collective heartbeat stumble. Public broadcasters cut mid-sentence, analysts yelped in earpieces, and inside that hall, Camilla's spine stiffened. If theater directors want to study controlled devastation, they will re-watch her micro-expressions. Lips tighten, eyes glaze. but chin stays high. Yet tears later slipped as cameras caught her crossing the anteroom, and palace aides rushed to whisk her behind closed doors. Catherine's first balcony moment in her new station rewired the monarchy's visual language. She wore no heavy crown, just a simple pale suit and the sapphire brooch Elizabeth had gifted her after George's birth. She waved with William at her side, children flanking like bright satellites, and the cheer rising from the crowd felt different, less compulsory, more protective. It signaled the handover Charles hoped for, lineage fused with relatable courage. Social feeds blew up. Queen Catherine hit 1 million tweets in an hour. But for every cheer, there was a hiss. Team Camilla trended too, arguing betrayal. Comment sections ignited. Does marriage seniority matter? Did the king just sideline his own wife? Should modern monarchy pick favorites or preserve hierarchy? Meanwhile, across staterooms, staff rewrote schedules. Camilla's charity visits quietly reassigned. Catherine's calendar exploding with patronages once earmarked for the older queen. Behind the scenes, Camilla confronted Charles in what insiders call the tapestry room showdown. No recording leaked, but echoes ricocheted through courtiers. Camilla invoked loyalty, the years she spent earning a fragile public truce. Charles countered that evolution isn't disloyalty, it's survival. Reports say he offered her a new portfolio, chief patron of heritage sites, private advisor on rural affairs. Roles away from flashbulbs, yet close to his environmental passions. She accepted the titles, but not the emotional verdict. For the first time since St. George's Chapel, their marriage faced a strategic rift. King choosing future optics over spousal equilibrium. William, by contrast, celebrated quietly. He'd long jockeyed with Camilla over influence circles. Now the path from Charles to him felt clearer, with Catherine as visible bridge. At Kensington, he reassured aides that Camilla's contributions wouldn't vanish. But privately he joked to a friend, captured in leaked text, that anyone wanting the old perks can always pay market rent. Tabloids spun it as a dig, referencing Charles's earlier eviction of Camilla's sister from a grace and favor home, a reminder that this generation won't tolerate freeloaders. Public reaction split down lines of age, memory, and media diet. Millennials raised on Catherine's mental health campaigns applauded. Older monarchists, still wrestling with Charles's divorce saga, felt uneasy seeing Camilla overshadowed again. In pubs, people debated whether a monarchy can remain stable if personal popularity dictates rank. One pen BBC Vox Pop side, BBC Vox Pop side. It's like we're choosing football captains, not respecting vows. Yet a younger caller retorted, if the captain can't score goals, sub her out. Opinion pieces flooded broadsheets. Some praised Charles's courage to modernize. Others warned of setting Camilla up as tragic outcast, repeating history's Diana shadows. Through it all, Catherine moved methodically. She doubled visits to children's hospices, recorded a raw-voiced podcast on cancer resilience, and hosted a roundtable on early years literacy, all within 3 weeks. Cameras captured her kneeling with a 5-year-old patient, eyes level, new queen title conspicuously absent in her introductions. I'm Catherine. Lovely to meet you. That simple line diffused accusations of arrogance and bolstered the palace's narrative. A monarchy that climbs down from pedestals. Meanwhile, Camilla retreated to Ray Millhouse, issuing a brief statement thanking well-wishers and reaffirming full support for the king's vision, a phrase analysts read as diplomacy, not delight. Inside think tank circles, the bigger question loomed. What precedent has Charles created? By leapfrogging Catherine past the consort stage, he's hinted that future sovereigns may reshuffle titles when popularity demands, not just bloodline dictates. That idea thrills Republicans, because if a crown bends that easily, perhaps it can be snapped. But it also excites monarchists who see adaptability as armor. Sir Clive Alderton reportedly told staff, better we write the next chapter than have a president write it for us. Yet critics ask, at what cost to personal bonds? Camilla's allies whisper that she feels relegated to the same secondary orbit once occupied by Prince Philip, only without decades of masculine latitude or public goodwill. Some fear that sidelining her too abruptly could resurrect sympathies that undermine Catherine's honeymoon. The late Queen's shadow hovers over every headline. Elizabeth understood public mood like a barometer. By grooming Catherine early, loaning jewels, inviting private chats at Windsor, she seeded a plan that now blooms. Anne's revelation of those private letters proved the point, yet also sharpened Camilla's pain. Acceptance from the mother-in-law she never fully won seems to have transferred to the daughter-in-law she watched rise. Family dinners now rumble with polite tension, Charles balancing plates of tradition and ambition, William throwing conversational lifelines, Camilla tasting exile in every undercurrent. Internationally, the decision reverberates. Commonwealth nations eye the reshuffle as a sign the Crown intends to reinvigorate relationships. Catherine will spearhead tours to Australia and Caribbean realms skeptical about monarchy's relevance. Her relatability is seen as essential to retaining those ties. Camilla may instead champion conservation estates in Scotland, away from cameras, a graceful semi-retirement masked as specialization. Diplomats privately applaud the strategy. One called it soft power rebranding. Yet they also caution that if Camilla's supporters feel she's been wronged, anti-monarch movements will weaponize that narrative. As summer slopes toward autumn, the palace prepares for Catherine's first speech as queen at the state opening of Parliament. Drafters blend tradition with modern pledges. Mental health, childhood development, green innovation. Camilla, sources say, will sit 2 rows back rather than beside the throne. Some will see dignity, others will see demotion. And public memory, ruthless as ever, will compare photos to last year's seating chart and decide for itself who now matters. We arrive at the crux. Charles believes he's future-proofed the institution by placing its bets on Catherine's star power. Camilla grapples with the emotional cost of being repositioned after finally wearing the crown she waited half a lifetime to don. Catherine shoulders the weight of expectation, knowing every misstep will be magnified under the new title. William gains a strategic ally in shaping a monarchy fit for his eventual reign. Anne, ever frank, watches to ensure the late Queen's blueprint is honored. And the British public, split, noisy, fascinated, will judge daily whether this gamble pays off. Now we circle back to you. After tonight's whirlwind, secret letters, balcony gasps, quiet tears, bold strategy, one question towers over every other. Did King Charles just secure the monarchy's future by crowning the people's favorite, or did he ignite a slow-burn fracture that will one day split the House of Windsor in 2? Type your verdict below, smack that like button so fellow royal sleuths can join the debate, and remember to stay subscribed, because the next time those palace chandeliers rattle, we'll be right here, turning every hidden echo into a headline you can't stop watching.